Yeah. Hi, I'm Leather Rock. I'm safe. I'm home. This is Garfield. And talk about that Mars energy, huh? Did that not prove it or what? Mars is the god of war and supposedly of poetry also, and of lust and all kinds of things. The war aspect is what I generally think of when I think of Mars. And that was some serious Mars energies. But as you can see, even though the screen's got a crack on it, the computer itself is still working. And I'm looking for a mirror for you. Uh, hold on. Okay. All right, I'm going to show you what the cracked screen looks like. If you can see over here, it's cracked, but it doesn't have a texture. It just has cracked here. And so I can't see a few things. So, and I'm going to, while I am talking to people, I'm going to click on Facebook for a minute because somebody is talking to, okay, I wasn't going to read aloud what was said because it doesn't have anything to do with this discussion. So I'm on here. I am not seeing any evidence that there's even anybody in the stream. You guys asked me to come on as soon as I came home. Now, if people are on, I will keep talking. But if people, I mean, I said that I would come on as soon as I got home. I figured that I would have people waiting for me. If you guys are, what, you went to bed already or what? Okay, I'm here. I'm home. Is anybody out there? If not, I'm just gonna do something else with my time because I've got some here that I need to undo. And all right, anybody out there? All right, and bye. Bad I. Oh, oh, okay. So somebody is there. I was going to shut this off if you hadn't said something because I figured, I got home as soon as I could. And hi. That was a really unsettling experience. I don't generally feel too unsafe in this town, even though there have been times when I got nervous at the gang activity and things. And, but if now I have to, excuse me, start bagging up my hair and disguising myself going in and out of this building because of people like that skateboard guy, you know. I thought the whole idea of living in the United States of America was you didn't need to live in fear and you could just be yourself. But Atlantic City is this weird little normal small town that just happens to be a resort. And the small town part of it is when I say think of small towns, I think of people that are not very open minded with respect to fashion and philosophy, and they're the kind of places where you could maybe get made fun of a lot by people that are very conformist in nature. But the big city part of Atlantic City is the ghetto aspects and the resort aspects. So, to occasionally be confronted with reminders that it's not as safe as we think it is, especially now with our porous borders, courtesy of the current idiots in charge. And that's how I feel. The only thing they have going for them is abortion. And I am pro choice, not when it's 8.5 months and you can practically see the kid's head out your undercarriage. But see, all this hair. Uh, I bet I have a big bag of my hair here somewhere. This isn't even a big one. Look at this. I wasn't exaggerating when I said I saved my hair. Oh, you want to see the voodoo doll? This is the one I was talking about. This absolutely worked for me. There's a person that I needed to avoid, and I wanted protection from that person without having to do a whole bunch of elaborate candle workings and stuff, which I don't mind doing, but it's nice to be able to do things with minimal tools and just use your brains and stuff. And the person that I wanted to leave me alone never came back. I never had any run-ins with them again. So, and this was just, it was less than $5. This cute little thing. Orange eagle is soaring high. Yeah, orange man. I love my orange man. Yes, I do. The reason why I'm not doing the turnaround over my usual spot is I got this nice piece of clean carpet I found, and I put it there to try to get the cat to stay on clean surfaces. Because if he's going to lay down on this filthy carpet that I had two cats die on, and just total hazmat situation, and then he's going to get up on my bed, you do the math. I'm kind of a germaphobe, even though you never know it. So that's why I got two sleeping bags on there. And did I pull the pin from it? No, I didn't take anything off of this. I believe the eyes may have been painted red and that flaked off, but I didn't do anything with this. I may have touched an oil to it, but and it's funny how they label these things as they say it's a toy, but it's not a toy, and they say basically if it helps with some aspect of your life, then it's a good thing, which I guess they have to put that on so that if somebody buys this and they have a spouse or a parent that's scared, they don't trip out so much, you know. So I thought that one of my better skills was with healings and things, but I'm pretty good with self defense. But by pretty good, I mean it's like I don't believe I misuse. I'm not using any abilities or whatever to get rich quick or do any shortcuts to anything. I mean, come on, if I was going to do that, I think I'd be rich and famous by now. And come on, that's not where what I focused my energies on. I mean, sometimes I would light green candles before uh, going to the places where I danced and stuff. But or I put an oil on my feet and I'd dance. And the thing is, I didn't realize in the beginning that there's a lot more to it than that. If you don't do the concentrating and the visualization, you're just wasting the money you spend on your tools. So, I didn't see any of Fox News Channel's footage of Trump in New York City. I was feeling kind of bummed out that since I didn't make it, I didn't want to see any of it. And then, of course, I heard some anecdotal stuff about it because my mother likes to watch The View. And there was talk about some comic that wasn't very funny. And like Trump's supposed to be blamed for what somebody else says. The last I heard, people were responsible for their own words and their own actions. And even if you are a fan of somebody's comedy, there's no way you would possibly have heard all of a person's jokes. So, how could Trump or anybody be responsible for the content of an artist that they have hired? And you don't know what. It's sort of like when the Rolling Stones were on Ed Sullivan's show, and Ed Sullivan said, "Don't say let's spend the night together. Say change the lyric to let's spend some time together." And of course, Mick Jagger sang it the way they'd recorded it, and I think that was the only time they were ever on the Ed Sullivan show. But the point of the matter is, just because you think you have an agreement with somebody to say or not say something does not mean that the person is going to fulfill their end of the bargain, and especially if there are no real serious financial repercussions. Thank you for saying that only only okay. Does this say only mids TV? My vision is so fucked up. I'm still keyed up about what just happened. Okay, that really threw me for. I mean, this whole thing, this, and then my mother goes and tells me maybe I shouldn't be out late, and this happened before midnight. So, what constitutes late at night? I have been used to running up and down all over at all hours of the day or night in Los Angeles, here in San Francisco. When I go to New York City, I am not the kind of person to. I mean, this is not Afghanistan. This is not some other country where that maybe is not as industrialized and uh, where it's ruled by theocratic governments and where the women and men are constrained by very tightly delineated gender roles. I could never put up with that. I'm very grateful that I was born in the United States and I have these freedoms that most people take for granted. And the great thing about the internet is you get to talk to people from all over the world and learn what it's like in these places where people live. I have friends in Islamic countries, most of which I think probably want to get out of them. And they've talked about trying to get to America, and they're very deserving people. But can you imagine having a waiting period of like 10 years before you're even approved? I mean, it's one thing if you're a very, very young person, but depending on how old you are, that's a long time. And there's people that I would love to come over here, but if it's going to take 10 years, and I hope I'm still alive 10 years from now, but unless I can afford some work done, I don't know how I'm going to look then. So, that's a scary thought. See, that's what sucks about not having money. If you had money, at least you could take care of things, and, you could be like some people that 20, 30 years pass by and you never know, you know. Uh, yeah, I'm a little shaken up by tonight. But the thing is, I should have known day and hour on Mars. I can't tell you how many times I had confrontations at, and or fights with people, and turned out it was on a Tuesday and it was on one of the planetary hours. I've had arguments with my mother on Mars days. I had fights with the other roommate on Mars days. Boy. Oh. I turn the coffee on again. As soon as it warms up, I'm going to have another cup. And, and this is not typical coffee drinking time, but you know what? My schedule's all screwed up. I invested so much time in planning what I was going to wear to that Trump rally and for the camp out thing, and then thinking about the temperature extremes, and then thinking about the financial costs, and then worrying about what I'm going to do with my electronics, since I'm sure I wouldn't be able to get that past security. And there's some people encouraging me to actually get a cell phone instead. And the thing is, I've never had a cell phone. I and occasionally I look at the ads, and some of them don't have very much storage room. I want something that would hold a terabyte of pictures and video and stuff, because I would use it for creating content. But these tiny little screens, you guys are so used. What is on my necklace? Okay, you got to get me closer look at this. All these things on this, which is why I got it. One of my favorite details is this eye on it, and it's got a dagger, and this thing here that some Catholics think it resembles the Sacred Heart of Jesus a little bit. It just needs a crown of thorns at the heart. I don't think about the Catholic Church too much, even though I was raised one. And I used to play hooky from church. When I was 9 years old, I started actually play with the stray cats that I would find. And one time I got frostbitten on my pinky toe on my right foot. Yeah, thank you for, hey, at least you guys witnessed it. The great thing about live and things is that there's witnesses, but when the guy said that he knew where I lived and he said the street, that lets me know that I have to watch my back. And if I have to start bagging up my hair again and going into hiding again, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. But it really sucks when that defeats the purpose of being a free person. I really love this one so much. It never, the finish never chipped on this. But this necklace, ultimately, the clasp broke on it. So I actually have it safety pinned together. And this ring here, most of my rings are cheap stuff from Wish and Temu, but this ring actually is sterling silver and was given to me by my BFF in Hollywood. And now this ring here, this is also silver. Um, a homeless friend of mine gave this to me. He said that he has access to a lot of old fashioned jewelry, and I forget what stone he said this was. I think it's it's a color, it's a stone that it's a this is a different color than you usually are used to seeing them. I think he said it was a garnet or something, but just looks like a topazy kind of color. But T-Donge, hey. Oh yeah, aren't I supposed to be undoing my hair? That's kind of just oh, I one of the recent things I got in that order, I got this eyeliner, and that's what I have on here. The only thing is when I put it on, it burns my eyes, it runs into them. But I didn't rinse it out, and I obviously didn't go blind, so. Oh, okay. Wait. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized something. Um showing this is going to be a little bit trickier. Um, oh, I know. Hold on. Craft. Okay. Oh man, my you know, on the hinge of a laptop, the top part where the screen is, there's all these different layers, and they're starting to come apart. You know, this computer isn't even a year old, and I did not have in the budget to get a new computer this soon. I still need to go back to Los Angeles to go deal with my storage. I have two storage units in Hollywood, and I need to go to consolidate my two units into one. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm putting another skirt on underneath this dress, okay, so that I can lift it up and show my belly. It's just a little curved barbell that has a little ball and a big ball on it. But I can't carry this one handed as easily as I could before because it feels all kind of cracked and stuff. But yeah, that guy who did what he did, he needs an ass whooping. And actually, I would like him to get a taxation, if you know what that is. Taxation is a term that gutter punks in Hollywood use when they basically take something from you. They usually hit you and they take an item of clothing or a piece of jewelry or something, usually as punishment because you wronged them or they wronged a friend of theirs or something. It's called a taxation. Since let's face it, we don't pay taxes because we like to, and it's not so much that it's voluntary, but it's expected and it's illegal if we don't. So that kind of theft is also called a taxation. I don't have a Cash App. That is for cell phones. I don't have a cell phone. This computer is all I have. I have PayPal, and it's leather, Leathur, at hotmail.com. Now I don't know if they do this, but if they would, um, let's see. I have Amazon credits, but Amazon is still kind of expensive if you ask me. But if they had, I'm trying to think of what I need right now is I'm thinking I could buy another laptop. I'm always going to need computers, but there's a lot of pressure to get a cell phone. And the thing is, if I had a cell phone and I knew how to use it, then I would have no problem getting into, say, Trump rallies and filming. And it would be, they're much smaller and easy to hide from security and stuff. But on the other hand, you're dealing with a tiny little screen, and I cannot imagine how people are able to read on those tiny little screens. How you guys do it? Uh, I do have another Amazon Fire tablet, but I can't set it up because I can't get into my Amazon account because even though I obviously have it in this computer, I can't get my password reset because that goes into my Hotmail, and my Hotmail is really kind of full up. Uh, but uh, but yeah, if anybody wants to screenshot that guy and have an APB for some disciplinary action and stuff, I can't really order a corporal punishment on a guy, because how am I going to pay it with? Usually, if you say that this is my order, then they're going to expect something for doing it, and I don't give those kind of favors. If you get my drift, I got to find that safety pin that I used. Oh, here it is. Oh, I hope I didn't leave it on the thing. Yeah. Oh, well. That was a nice big safety pin. Yeah. Okay, now I want to take the stupid screw off. There. Oh, you've seen this before, right? I forged this myself. In Millville, New Jersey, by the way, there is this couple. The man was a cop, he still is, and his wife was a farmer, and they're both witches. Well, they ended up divorcing, but I still hear from the cop every now and then. But I think it's a lot easier to talk to cops now that weed's legal. See, the straight pins, safety pins are a lot easier because you can get it right in the very, because I braided the hair to the very, do I have a Trump belly ring? I don't have a Trump belly ring, but I do have a silver heart shaped flag belly ring that was actually the very first belly ring I bought after my initial piercing healed. I got it at a Kiss Expo, incidentally. But after that, I started buying my jewelry through mail order through places like Painful Pleasures and Body Candy and Pugster. You get like $25 order, gets you free shipping. And I got so many that I haven't bought new jewelry in years. I can probably get away with not buying any new piercing jewelry, unless, of course, I decide to get something else pierced. I don't know. I think I'm all good on that department, but who's to say? Because I mean, to me, a piercing is only really fun if you can show it off publicly. The hidden piercings, let's face it, don't you don't get to show them to too many people, so that makes it a little less fun, if you ask me. But I gotta lose the weight that I put on this year because of, like I said, I did that to myself. Nobody said I had to eat all those pumpkin pies and all those chocolate cakes with the chocolate icing and the blueberry pies and the cherry pies. Oh, well, cherry pie, I think I would still not say no to, but really, I did it to myself. Uh, but I got a lot of meat in the freezer, and but cutting down on the carbs, that's hard. Like, I could never go totally low carb like some people. I like bread too much. But to get back down to the 105 pounds I was, and I'm supposed to be, uh, I'd miss some meals for that. course, I got to be careful how I talk about that on here because Facebook or well, Facebook too, YouTube does not let us speak totally freely on things. Like there's so much advice I would love to give about things. Like I would love to talk about being pro-choice and about how there are options for women and girls, and there's herbs and things that you can take. And I don't know if I'm even allowed to say it, but do your research is all I'll say. Because I got a big bag of pennyroyal for the event that we would lose Roe. I did that, and I have a bag like this big of pennyroyal. Black or blue cohosh does the same thing, but this was over 10 years ago, and I'm not sure that they are have many active ingredients anymore. Even though with I noticed with kitchen cooking spices in sealed containers, they retain their flavor for years. Like we had a big thing of oregano that my father got from one of the conventions here in Atlantic City. My father and I were both security guards at what was Atlantic City Convention Hall, but now it is called Boardwalk Hall. Um, and until it lasted us until like I think last year it finally ran out. For years, for over like 17, 18 years, we had this thing of oregano. It was like a container about yo big. Um, well, I don't know. I've seen that other piercing. When I get my six pack back, then I will think about that because when I look at pictures of me that were just not even 2 years old, and I'm wearing this much exposed midriff and have this nice, totally flat stomach and everything. And it's like, you know, and I wouldn't have worn those kind of outfits if I didn't know I could pull it off, but when you lose your shape, you don't necessarily want to show your imperfections to the world. So, uh, you know, I miss going out dancing and stuff, but COVID hit and screwed that up. And then I found out that I can't wear those high heels that I could anymore. They're too painful for my feet. And it's like it really bums me out because I love beautiful shoes and I love admiring people's clothes and people's shoes and stuff. And you know, it's a good thing that there are some dance clubs around here that are more or less kind of informal. They don't have real strict dress codes, so you don't have to wear the prettiest heels and they still let you in and stuff. See, I get here and I roll it up, ball it up. And I have, see here, and I have envelopes that I have. Sometimes I'll have a hair from a friend. They sent them so that I can do some things with candle work, to help them and stuff. And to be honest, I there are times in my life when the magic is a very, very regular part of my life and my practice, and there's other times in my life when the interest is always there, but I don't necessarily do a lot of things because I'm just doing real world things, if that makes sense. Or I don't want to be selfish, even though I have real personal needs. I don't want to use it for superficial things. So I would like to find costume parties to go to because almost Halloween now. And one year at the non-licensed dispensary, I went there in my zebra stripe makeup, and I was determined to stick around to the costume judging because I was confident that I thought I deserved to win a prize, and I did get a prize. It included a bunch of free weed to add on to the weed that I already bought there. And but unfortunately, a couple months later, the place got raided and turned out they didn't have the proper licensing for it because it didn't have that sterile clinical look on the outside like so many of Atlantic City's dispensaries. And I don't have photo ID, so I have never been inside them. And by the way, when I tell you something like that, that is not an invitation to ask me a bunch of questions as to why I don't have it. I really don't owe an explanation for why, except that I don't have it, and that's just the way it is. I think it would probably be easier for me to get ID when I go back to California, even if I just go out there to deal with my storage. Because if I can put 2 units worth of stuff into 1 unit, I'll cut my rent in half. And the way they keep on increasing the storage rent, it's ridiculous. And with my mother, she's carrying a really big credit card balance now. She never carried a credit card balance. She always paid before the month was over. But this Biden Harris economy has affected us. And my brother, who's the other person who lives here, he's trying to not spend as much on the bills because I think some of it has to do with he's got himself in a relationship now. And I think he would like to spend some of his resources on his lady. So if you can get away with not spending as much toward the bills, I guess you would probably do something like that. And he really wants, I think he sees my mother and me as kind of a hindrance to him. And I could certainly understand that. For what it's worth, living with him is stressful to me too. But both of their social security checks are what's paying the rent and the bills here. And meanwhile, I do all this unpaid caregiving work, taking care of my mother and stuff. And you know, some states they have a program that you can get paid for it. The government pays your family member who you're doing caregiving work for, and you get paid. But the only problem with that is it's paid by a check, and I can't cash checks. And I don't have a bank account, and I don't want a bank account because bank accounts they eat up your money in fees. And plus, I don't think I need the government knowing what my resources are. Not that I have any really, but still, you know, think I can get this untangled by my birthday. Do you really think I could? But I need to do my roots. I need to bleach my roots out, and I need to re-dye my hair. There's lots of things going on around here, and they have nice money prizes and things. Uh, but I don't get the info on what's going on in town, and I'm not in the mood to go to some club that's playing hip hop. I don't like rap music. I really don't. Some people I think are kind of talented, like Eminem, but now he's talking all this anti-Trump stuff, and it's like I don't want to hear it. I guess I'm gonna have to cut my nails off once they start breaking again, but it's kinda nice having long nails again, but it's typing is a little weird, and 2 of them broke off here, so this hand looks crappy. But I can't see polishing them though, because say I had polished nails and say I get some weed and I'm crumbling up, I don't want nail polish flaking off into the weed. That's not good to smoke. So now you guys can hear me, right? Sometimes people complain about the sound. And again, I'm filming using an open laptop computer and it's built-in webcam and it's got an internal microphone. So I don't bother with clip-on mics when I take my computer out because when you move around, they just slide off. They don't stay clamped on. And plus you have another cord and something else to fall. And then if you have an incident where you're having problems with somebody in public, then they could damage a lot more equipment. So one thing, this neighborhood, you don't see trick-or-treaters going from door to door like would be a normal thing. I think parents know that this is not a family-friendly neighborhood, even though there are families here. Next door, there is a family, and when they got the house, they did some extra things to it. They added a metal gate to the outside and they built an enclosure to their porch so that people can't uh, get onto it from the outside. And they created different barricades to keep people from breaking in through lower windows and stuff. And the police here installed some closed circuit TV cameras with the domes on them, kind of like the ones in the casinos, but they have them on a lot of the light posts now. And yet the activities that go on around here still go on around here. And it's like, if I knew that there was a camera on me, I wouldn't be breaking the laws, you know? Some of these braids I have to be careful because there is a strand of hair that looks like it may be connecting one to another, or that I won't be able to deal with until I actually get it unbraided up to that point because it's too easy to snap hair off, and I don't want to do that. Now I've got a kind of a quandary now. On one hand, I feel like maybe I'd be safer if I laid low for a while. But on the other hand, this is the worst possible time for me to do that. This is my birthday week, and I'm not going to find anything to do sitting on my ass here at home because the people that I would be most likely to be hanging out with, they're not on the internet. And I can't find them from by sitting on the edge of my bed. I have to go out and run into people, you know. Uh, and the thing is, I tried to start making plans like 2 months ago, and my mother kept on saying, "Oh, it's too early" and everything. I said, "You know what? First of all, the other person we live with, he celebrates his birthday the whole damn month, and he finds things to do. He gets a hotel room for a whole week at a time. There's this place called the Atlantic Palace. It's a condominium up, I think it's on New York Avenue in the boardwalk. And he gets a whole week at a time. He stays up there. And I think they don't charge him. And I guess if you know enough people. whatever. Or maybe he knows he brings in business there or something. I don't know. But I would like to get away for a week in a hotel room with all I would want is Wi-Fi and a nice clean bathtub, like soak. The rooms that he gets have hot tubs, jacuzzis, everything. And I don't even have specific plans, actually. One year, I got myself a couple of slices of chocolate dipped bacon. Uh, and last year, I got some Chinese food. I ended up being kind of disappointed in because the pork in the combination fried rice didn't taste like normal pork does. I tried to get lobster fried rice. They didn't have any lobster. I really love duck, but they didn't have any duck on the menu at all. And when if you saw my Philadelphia videos, I looked at the menus in Chinatown, and the sticker shock is so. I couldn't get over how high even the fast food places were. So I ended up leaving hungry. Bark, of course. Well, I wasn't expecting any barkings. But I'm thinking, I don't know. So many things that like you can do in the summer, they don't have available now that it's cold. Like they had that, I think it's called parasailing, where you're dragged behind a boat and you're actually in the air on this thing. It's kind of like a jet ski, but it's kind of like a hot air balloon, kind of, and you're gliding, kind of. But they only have that going on till I think the end of September. And then they have this boat cruise that goes around the island, but that's only like 2 or 3 hours or something. And they usually have open bars, which doesn't help me. I'm going on 20 years sober. And they have these ones, they're the smoking cruises, but they check ID before you even go there. And it's like, that's fucking ridiculous. You should be able to look at a person's face and tell over 21, under 21. You know, end of subject. I mean, if I wouldn't get carded going to the liquor store to pick up a bottle for my homeless friends that aren't allowed places, why are you going to card me for weed? It's not like I'm practicing firing at a shooting range and you want to know who I am so you can do a background check and make sure that I'm not trouble. You know, I mean, if I was trouble, I think y'all would know by now. They have some candy shops here that they're only open till like 5 or 6 o'clock, and it's like they're missing out on so much foot traffic. Why they close so early, especially that one that's close to Tropicana. It's ridiculous. They can make so much money, but they close. I mean, when you close that early, even people who have normal 9 to 5 jobs, they can never get to your establishment. So it seems to me that the more hours you're open, the more money you stand to make. Unless they're getting problems with juveniles who are doing shoplifting and things. That's always tricky because you can't hit kids. And we need district attorneys that are going to take uh, certain crimes more seriously. And meanwhile, this business of giving people tickets for sleeping in public. Like I heard you're writing out $300 tickets here in Atlantic City. That's ridiculous. And I am in many of my circles, I'm the only person that does not have warrants, doesn't get ticketed. I don't jaywalk unless I absolutely can avoid it because I don't want to get into the habit. Because some cities, they will ticket you, like a lot of places in California. They'll have a cop who his beat is literally in between two street corners, and he's standing there watching people cross against the light, and he chases after him and writes tickets. And the last time I was there, it was well over $100. I can only imagine what it is now. But I need to go out there and deal with my storage. I can ship some things back here. I have some guitar necks and bass necks and tuning pegs and things that I can have shipped back here that I'll just give to somebody. And I'm thinking of selling the rest of my music equipment. I'll keep my acoustic guitar, the Dreadnought that I play, and I guess I'll keep one of the electrics. I'll keep my PV Raptor. And I think I'll sell the bass and the violin and the other guitars and things. Just to, well, I want to get a used school bus and I want to convert that into an RV. And that's going to take probably a good 2 years working on that because rents are very, 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 very hard to afford. And any place that would be desirable is very expensive. And I haven't been able to afford rent since a long time, just say. And these rents that people are accepting as normal, I think is absolutely obscene. And this place is $1,400 a month, but it's a 5 bedroom, you know. So, and I need that extra storage room for my clothes and things. But I'm gonna put on flatter shoes. I might as well be comfortable. Put these back on. Hope they're dry enough. I actually spilled a thing of open tomato sauce that was in the fridge and splashed red all over. It looked like a total crime scene. And I had to rinse these off. But I want to show you the clogs I was wearing. I would like them more if they were black, but these actually feel like heels to me. I used to be able to wear like 4 inch, 5 inch heels, and now it hurts like the instep of my foot, and I have bunions now and arthritis that I believe resulted from old dance injuries because I wasn't one of those girls that just struck some poses and danced real slow and provocatively. I actually danced. So I didn't make a lot of money, but I had a lot of fun. And for my audience, the people that appreciated me, appreciated my image, and appreciated that I was a very athletic, fast, intense, larger than life dancer. And they liked, you see, I'm used to being in these big cities full of more open minded people, and I didn't get attitudes like that guy in the skateboard. And you should see what the hookers look like that go up and down the street. They're not beautiful women. It's a shame. The women who I've talked to, that they have confided in me that they are in that life, and I never would have suspected. And I'm wondering how, because they have this such a non hooker look, how they even meet the people to conduct their business affairs with. But I guess it starts with some creep asking them a dirty question, and they just say yes instead of no. And I guess that's how it is. There's some things I will just never understand. I know what hardship is like, and I know what stress is like, but to feel so limited in your options that you think that that's all there is to do, I think that's just really, really sad. Uh, and I also think less of the people who would exploit such vulnerable individuals, you know, because there's guys that drive up and down with something on their mind, and the people that they often end up approaching and, I guess, doing business with, I don't know. I don't get the lack of selectiveness of a lot of these men. But then again, I don't understand how the women that can settle for the bad relationship, the bad job, the bad whatever. Why do people settle for less than what they really deserve? But is it that life beats things out of them? Is it that I know? Is it the drugs thing? Is it pressures that parenthood puts on you to be the provider and stuff? And I missed all those milestones, so I don't know what it's like to be a parent. Uh, I always figured that if I couldn't provide the stability that a child deserved, then I have no right to bring said child into the world. And I was raised to not bring home a child for mom and dad to take care of when I'm not married and all that stuff, because you're supposed to get married first. But society has changed, and what used to be a public scandal and shame is now no big work. But what I think is a scandal is people's casual attitudes with their pets. They don't spay and neuter, and they treat pets as disposable with the slightest bit of inconvenience. They look for an excuse to rehome their cats and their dogs, whatever it is they have. And I don't understand. Yes, there's a lot of places that don't allow pets, but then there's also sneaking. But no, if why would you move someplace that doesn't allow animals, and then you're forced, and you're not forced to, because it's always a choice. This cat or dog knows you and loves you, and you drop them off never to be seen again. You can break that animal's heart. And the people that dump animals on the street, I just read a statistic that you do that in the wintertime, 60% of them won't even survive. And how people can do these kind of things to the animals that they love. Mile High Community Channel, hey, keep on rocking it, free world. I hope Colorado is going to be okay with all those illegal aliens that have been flooding various cities and overwhelming the resources of your people. and taking over apartment buildings and breaking and entering and all that stuff. I know what it's like to endure home invasions. I was into it, and that's a very scary experience. What do I think Trump will do first? The border. Got to do something about the border. Reinstate his remain in Mexico uh thing. I love the no taxes on tips and overtime. Uh, Now, if I ever bought a strip joint, which was one of my minor fantasies, to buy your own strip joint, right? And I would get to dance in it whenever I wanted to, but I would have a very strict rule about how you better not be caught doing any hanky panky for funny money. No whoring in my strip joint. And there's not going to be any tip outs either. I believe you should be able to keep your tips and not share it with somebody else who did not shake their moneymaker to get them. So, my problem with a lot of gentlemen's clubs and other and bikini bars and other dance places is they expect that you're going to count your tips at the end of the night in front of somebody that gets 10% of them. And it's like, sometimes it's like a head bartender or something. And first of all, bartenders are making tips anyway, especially anybody belly up at the bar. They're getting tips from them, and the waitresses are selling drinks and everything. But why? It's a practice that people are sharing their money. Restaurant workers, don't they sometimes pool their tips? They're like, I don't understand that. If I am giving you a tip for your excellent service, I want the money to go to you, not shared with your brothers and your sisters and this one who sits on his ass reading Playboys in the break room when he's supposed to be working, you know? Dancing is like the most fun. All the gigs I ever had, dance gigs were the most fun. And I'm very fortunate that I got to work in some places that truly allowed for artistic expression. And there was no DJs that you had to tip, because all you had to do was hand your cassette tape in, and they put it in the tape deck that I guess was next to the microphone in the sound room or something. Now, I guess if you go to these places, you got to wonder what kind of format your music files have to be in. You know, I'd like to mess with people's heads and ask them if they have a turntable and bring some vinyl just to see their reaction. But hey, vinyl's getting a resurgence. Oh, that's another thing I have in my storage. Oh, and the thing is, I don't know what to bring back here and what to leave over there, because yeah, I have a little miniature crimping iron I got also, that I'm thinking if the ends don't look crimped enough, I can just crimp them. Even though I've heard some people say that you got to watch out about buying cheap electronics from these companies, but I have gotten tablets and refurbished computers from these companies, and the only problem I had is occasionally I don't, I never find out how to use the equipment. Like I have a camcorder and I have a little digital camera, and you can't really read the uh, instruction book. And I got these things like 5, 6, 7 years ago and never knew how to use them. I have this little camcorder, and I remember people used to take them to the concerts that allowed filming in LA, and people, and I always thought these as things that was like $300 or $400, real expensive stuff that my family certainly didn't have. And I can get this older tech now, but the instruction booklets are the translations are so bad. And the print is so small, even with magnifying glasses and stuff. You're trying to figure out this stuff. Feels like it's one giant felt knot. So I don't know how I'm going to find things to do. Got Halloween coming up, and then a couple of days later, you know, and I'm thinking if I love myself, and I'm sure I do, I would want to just go and do only the things that make me happy. And, and one of my goals is to not be around anybody that pisses me off. But of course, how can you really avoid that when people are very unpredictable? And if everybody knows it's your birthday, then people might use that to purposely be mean to you. Plus, I don't necessarily, you're always worried about things like identity theft, stuff like that. I was thinking of maybe live streaming that day, depending on where I was, because I couldn't imagine I'd be stuck at home. I figured I would be someplace with Wi-Fi. But now I'm thinking after what happened outside the Tropicana today, I'm thinking maybe that's not the safe spot that I thought it was. So, plus, let's face it, you've seen that view anyway. It's not like it's any particular interesting thing. But you know what? Maybe I'll just not stream there anymore. See, this is a big hunker here. But in a way, it makes your hair fuller or fluffier because all the hair that broke off is going to be shorter hairs. It's just going to add to the volume. Kind of like when people get um, layers cut into their hair. See, Mile High Community Channel likes vinyl. There's something about the ritual of taking it out of its dust cover, blowing the dust off of it, swinging the arm on. You can get cheap Crossley turntables for $99 now, but then they have other ones. I will save audiophile articles. Um, at one point before I bought the car, it's the only car I ever had. I was thinking of getting at the time, what was at the time a state of the art sound system, or I could get that vehicle. And since my plan was to go to California, I thought the car would be much more useful. And it was, because let's face it, you can't sleep in the sound system, but you can sleep in the car. And I had a Dodge Daytona Turbo Z with a hatchback. The hatchbacks are great because that's more space to store your stuff. And if you're, say, moving cross country, it was a four door, and there's enough room to hold your stuff. I can't say I love that spot. It's convenient for me because the casino Wi-Fi signal is strong. If they would only up the signal throughout the boardwalk, because see, the boardwalk was what I thought the safest part of this town. Now, where I live, this is considered very, very dangerous, but I feel very safe here because I'm on really good terms with most of the crackheads and the junkies. I got people hugging me, and I'm pretty sure they didn't have bugs or anything like that. And this last hug I got was about 5 hours ago, and I took a shower since then. So, well, actually, no, I got a hug from somebody on the boardwalk today, and I don't think she's buggy. But generally speaking, I am very, very protective of my safety and my cleanliness. But same token, I'm not highfalutin and the kind of person that's stuck up and won't talk to people that I consider beneath me because, life's too short to be like that to people. But being in this neighborhood has been a humbling experience because I never realized that I would be here so long that I would end up befriending some of these people in some of these situations. When I lived in California, yes, I partied, but I didn't do heroin and I didn't stick needles in my arm. And while I knew people that did substances that I didn't do, most of the people that I really hung out with appreciably, we shared the same vices. Heroin people aren't going to necessarily hang out with speed freaks. But, and I read that John Belushi book, Wired, thinking that maybe that would scare me away from some partying and stuff. But again, those weren't drugs that I did, so it wasn't like it was affecting me much because I knew I wasn't going to make those concoctions like what he was doing and stuff. But I'm lucky that I got to do what I did when I did it and stopped when I did it because now with fentanyl and stuff, street drugs are not safe. All I do is smoke weed and I love weed. And sometimes I pick up a nice sized roach like this for the really good weed and just take the tobacco wrapper off of it. But the dealers who are around here, they don't drop their roaches around anymore because they got tired of people like me picking the roaches off the ground because to them it's like they're people get freebies and they're resentful. They think that people should be spending money. Well, my perspective is if you don't have it in the budget, it would be irresponsible to spend the money, especially on something like a drug or a high. You don't do that, you know? I mean, some people do, obviously, but it's not a wise way of spending your money. And I was raised that you always live beneath your means. That's the only way to live. And if things happen, hardships happen in your life, then you have to make further budget cuts. That's just the way it is. So that's how I can make a whole pot of tea out of one tea bag. There's lots of things that a person can do to cut corners. Well, if you hear some sounds like voices underneath me, I have Fox News Channel on, but I have it very quiet. One thing I notice some people's live streams, sometimes people play radios in the background. And you really aren't supposed to do that because you can get a copyright strike. And I have tried telling people, and they continue to play radios and they basically say they don't care. And what I'd like to know is how come they're getting away with it and you're not getting copyright strikes? And yet I have had, uh, oh, there was footage of me dancing on some dance floors, and there was something that I deliberately didn't post because I was afraid of getting a strike. It was, they played that song by the Prodigy called "Smack My Bitch Up." I love that song. That's something that draws people immediately to the dance floor if they're not on it already. I really enjoy techno and rave styles of music. Is even though I technically avoid current music, especially pop, and rap, but electronica, I don't think that electronic music, because it's so different than the kind of music that I play, I don't think it's going to seep into my ideas and cause me to do any accidental plagiarism or something. But I want to make sure that as I work on my music, I want it to be as much genuinely from me, my life experiences, and the things that I love, and not things that I inadvertently heard and seeped into my subconscious. So, like all the stuff that I grew up with and I love, that's fine, but just I don't want to hear new stuff. But that said, 2 days, a day before my birthday, and 2 days before my birthday, there's some concerts. Lenny Kravitz is playing here, and Chicago is playing here, and both of them are at venues that are on the boardwalk. One of them is one of them is playing at the Ocean, which is that real tall casino up. And I used to play guitar in front of there. And the other one is, I think, playing Hard Rock. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go get dressed in something real wild and go and stand outside the entrance and try to, or near the box office, and see if I can get a free ticket. Grateful Dead people, they call this thing miracle. You go and stand, hold your hand up, and that means you want a miracle. And sometimes you can get free tickets that way. Well, I never got miracled in to see Grateful Dead. Um, I just hung out in the parking lot, which you call Shakedown Street, and that was big fun. But Jerry is obviously dead. He died when I was in San Francisco. Freaky Frank Bruce says, "Hey, I gotta go, but I'm glad you're safe." Yeah, well, I promised I would get back on. I'm glad the camera is working. I really thought when he threw that, I really thought that I mean, what he did, and him saying that nobody had a right to photograph a person in public, that is not true. Ask any lawyer, they will tell you there is no expectation of privacy in a public place. And if it's not illegal, that guy had no leg, legal or moral, to stand on. And because of what he did to me, trying to destroy my equipment, he needs his ass beat, and he needs to replace that computer. Now, I don't know the guy's name. I sort of kind of remember the face, but he has, and it really bothers, well, everything about that situation bothered me. Being asked if I was a prostitute, and then not seeming to get that that is somehow an insult. And if a man can be like that, then he has no respect for women. But I guess if you think that a woman is somebody that you can pay for, then I guess it's hard to respect. Even though maybe some guys are just practical and they're figuring this is transactional, they would rather pay than have a relationship and have to worry about another person's feelings. Maybe when it's transactional, it gives them an excuse to just be selfish. I don't know. There are so many things, so many worlds that I was only very peripherally aware of. But in the years that we've lived in this neighborhood, I have just seen so much street. and way more street stuff than when I was in Los Angeles and when I was in San Francisco. And, I never saw things this street before. So, okay, if that's not a safe spot, I'm trying to think of where else I can go live. Because, I mean, I've done things like go over to the public library. That whole area is blanketed with Wi Fi. City Hall and stuff. When we were having problems with the home internet, I would go up to go to Bally's Sportsbook at 3 in the morning and wouldn't think anything of doing that. And to feel that now I have to stop, that would be a very hard adjustment because I'm used to running around like I'm as tough as the fellas, even though I'm obviously not a dude and don't dress like a dude. So, what? Because I have this obvious vulnerability, I have to be in hiding for the rest of my life? That's no way to live. And plus, what am I going to do? Stay here? Which, okay, having cable TV is nice, don't get me wrong. I can watch Fox News Channel all day, and oftentimes I do. But, of course, if I'm doing this YouTube stuff, I can't have stuff running in the background. Yeah. So I got to think of some other places that I can go live, 'Cause, I've got the rest of this week, and I don't want to end up getting depressed and just staying in bed all week. That's no way to live either. I keep on thinking if I go out, then I I might run into somebody good, or I might have a stroke of good fortune. But they say 90% of life is just showing up. So you get dressed, you leave the house, and you go look for an adventure. Didn't occur to me that I was taking a chance at maybe having an unpleasant, non consensual encounter with another human being. Well, let's face it, when somebody takes your electronics and throws it like a frisbee, that is a non consensual encounter. Okay, I'm charged up now. I want to show you somebody. He has been catching so many mice lately. He caught two today, had him in his mouth. I carried him into my mother's room to show her, and he dropped one on her floor. She was not abused. Okay. You're the cutest little guys. I have this bread out there for them actually. What Garfield's been doing is, you see that box over there? That's a bait. There's your bait for the mice. And Garfield has been sitting underneath the table waiting for. Hi, baby. My baby, baby. And oh, the cup is in my room. Now, what are you calling me for? You got food there. You got food there. You got food there. You got food there. You got food. You got food. Oh, baby. Oh, you my baby. You got a baby. Oh, your baby. Who's your baby? You're the baby. You're the pretty baby. Yes. Well, Nick, what do you think? What do you think? He's a baby. He's a baby. He's a baby. I got a baby. I got a baby cat. Oh, yes, I got a baby cat. Put this. All right. So, got my coffee cup, and I'm gonna pour myself a cup of coffee. Because isn't that what everybody does at 1:47 a.m.? Some more water. It's a little. Let's go outside. Oh, yeah, here bag. Hold on. Anyway, I'm gonna see if I can get into those concerts. At least the Chicago one. I mean, I of only there's like three Lenny Kravitz songs that I really like a lot, and a lot I find actually boring. So I wonder if maybe it wouldn't be a good idea to go to a concert where you only know that you like a few of the songs. Chicago, I know I won't be bored by. I absolutely love them, and I've never seen real Chicago before. I've seen some tribute bands, but I've never seen real band live. I'm going to get a straight paint. Okay, I've got my baby. I got my baby. Oh, I got a baby. Oh, my baby cat. I love you. I love you. Okay. Yeah. Which one I was? um, I noticed about Atlantic City. People go to bed really early here. I'm used to keeping pretty much later hours. Well, you think about it. Give kisses. I'll give kisses. Yeah, I'll give kisses. I love you. I love you. I love my baby. I love you. I love you. I love my cat. He's so pretty. Okay, I'll set you down. Set you down. What? I love my cat. I love this my kitty. Hey, excuse me. No, no. So I'm wondering, Joy, I guess I could keep this bagged up so that people around here don't see my hair. You know, am I supposed to be in hiding now? You know, yeah. What you do? What are you doing? Hello, what are you doing? Oops, 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 oops. What are you doing? Okay. I'm gonna pour this coffee, shut the rest of it off. My sweeteners, and I'm gonna take this back into my room. Mm. Garfield, come on, come on. Hey, what are you doing? Come on, get in here. Garfield the cat. Get in here. Come on. Sweet old baby. Who's my now? Oh, whoa, 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 what? I got my cat. It's okay. Oh, it's okay. My baby. I love my baby. All right. All right. Well, everybody, I guess, turns into pumpkins except for me. So I'll be the belle of the ball, and you guys can have a good night and sweet dreams and all that. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. So good night. Bye bye.